#idataengineer.
My name is Daniel. Some call me the Data Janitor, and I'm building Pipeline Data Engineering Academy, the world's first data engineering bootcamp. Not one of today's data engineers grew up as a kid imagining becoming one. I definitely didn't. That made me think about how others look at our line of work, and I feel the best way to explain it is through asking a handful of practitioners about their journey and how their work look like.
Who are you and what do you do now?
Hi, my name is Bence Faludi. I'm originally from Hungary and I live in Singapore. I'm actually quite a traveler. I lived around the world. I lived a few years in Berlin, London, and also in Hanoi. And I'm a foodie. I actually work as a data engineer for almost 10 years now. And I just joined recently to Facebook. So I'm still getting used to my new role. However, I was actually running my data studio earlier where I worked with an international client. And I was mainly responsible to set up and modernize data businesses.
How did you end up as a data engineer?
Yeah, that's a long story. I originally started as a software engineer, but even during university, I was more into databases than coding and had some interest in math. In general, I like structured information and organizing things in a logical way. So even the role did not exist at that time. Looking back, I think it was expected to happen somehow. After working a few years, I shifted towards working more on data reporting and building CMS systems in Python. I was also responsible for some data migration projects, building ETLs, developing data cleansing solutions. So the road was quite straightforward afterwards to the cloud. And to be honest, I started in an era when stream processing and logging, such as Kinesis Data Firehose or Kafka, were not really available. So we had to implement all those solutions. I think it was a really good opportunity for me, and also just working on those core parts of the full stack of data really helped me to understand the complexity of the layers. So I think it just eventually I become one.
Great. What projects, tools, or trends excite you these days?
I actually always look for tools that can be personalized when it comes to ETLs. So I personally prefer either low-level ETLs, such as Nightshift, or like complex ones, such as Airflow. On data visualization, I have really no preferences. All tools have its, I think, pros and cons. To be honest, I actually like Superset, but not because of the visualization capability, but because of the SQL Lab interface, which is really good for collaboration. And it's free, which is quite amazing, especially in an insanely overpriced market. And on data warehousing, I'm actually a huge fan of Presto. I really think that using like complex data types, such as arrays, sets, and maps, I think it's a game changer in generally in data engineering, because we can build really good data sets that are reusable, and it provides much better performance over Hive or Spark.
How do you see the role of data or data engineering changing in the coming years?
So data engineering has changed a lot over the past 10 years for sure. I kind of expect to be more regulated. And I remember in the past 10 years, we built, and actually many companies build a lot of homebrew tools. And most of these, or at least most of those areas have been commercialized. So I kind of expect that this commercialization will continue, which probably also come with the side effect that less technical people will be able to do their job in these tools, which is good. I mean, it will open the data space for new people, which is, I think, amazing. But it also comes with a risk, because all those tools will be available on the market, and people and companies need to pick their tools more wisely. I think generally that's how I see. Otherwise, it's really hard to predict.
What piece of advice would you pass along to those who are just starting out their career in data engineering?
Oh, then definitely learn, and learn. I think that's the key and most important advice I can give, because I see many people who starting their careers. I even tried to hire some people earlier, like past year, and I had huge trouble finding like capable people. It mainly comes from few really simple things like SQL knowledge. Everyone needs SQL knowledge. I understand that people like Tableau and other visualization tools because it does the magic, but people needs to be comfortable with SQL. Because without SQL, people will not be able to validate their own work. As a data engineering role, I think one of the most key aspects that people trust us to build the right things and make sure that what we build is actually correct. And do not make mess code. Really, like code quality, SQL formatting, data quality, it all comes together. So especially those people who just start their career, I think it's really important. Like, take a look on the code, take a look on the SQL formatting that you are using. If you cannot organize your code or format your queries, then why do you think that people would trust the tables that you create?
Straightforward thing, you're saying.
And one more thing, simplicity first. Really. Because I do believe, at least in this field, if we cannot explain in a single sentence how something works, then it's most likely wrong.
Do you listen to music while working?
I actually don't. I don't know, like a few years ago, I was listening a lot of hip hop music at that time, but somehow I started working more and more with people. This music listening behavior completely disappeared from my life.
Did you have an explicitly enjoyable meal just recently?
Oh, I actually had a lot.
Okay.
So one of the big perks of moving to Asia was for me to actually have a huge range of accessible food. I've always been a huge fan of Vietnamese and Chinese cuisine. I'm really big fan of Sichuan cuisine in general. And I found a really nice restaurant not long ago. And to be honest, I really love all those things.
So now you're a regular at the new place. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for the time you've taken. And let's hope that we all will have less trouble trying to hire junior data engineers in the future.
I think that would be really nice. All the expertise and hands are needed in this area.
Thank you.
If you are a data engineer and you feel like sharing your story, reach out. I'd be happy to chat with you.
#idataengineer